Hey guys, before you watch this video, I wanted to make a quick disclaimer. This video is going to be different than any one that I had to do, and unfortunately, that's due to Universal Studios in general. Um, because the first video I had actually had clips from the movie, and then Universal came on to me and said, you cannot. They bought the entire video, not just one segment, the entire thing. So I had to do this from scratch again, and I really wanted to review this. So instead of trying to find out a different way of doing it, I'm gonna do it this way. And I know that this is weird, and I apologize in advance, but I really, really, really wanted to review this, and I'm not letting YouTube or Universal Studios win with this. So please just abide by what I'm doing. It's an I know that other people, other YouTubers have done this idea as well too, or done these type of reviews, but here we are. They have forced me to basically do this, and even though I reviewed about over 100 Universal films, it's still kind of silly to me. So without further ado, please enjoy the review of Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet the Wolfman and Happy Lazyween, and if this gets copyrighted again, it will just be gone, just like my Beetlejuice review. So, without further ado, please enjoy, and yeah, happy Lazyween, and let's get going. There's nothing horrifying in this real world, more so than having a next door neighbor. Stop laughing at me! You don't know what your next door neighbor could be. Could be a vampire, like we discussed in Fright Night. Could be a monster of any type. Or, just like in today's topic, they could be nothing but a werewolf. Greetings, ghouls and goblins, and ladies universe, and white nerdy, and welcome back to another Lazyween Spectacular. And today we are taking a look at the underrated, but definitely animated classic, Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet the Wolfman. Now, despite what you might be thinking, the Alvin and Chipmunks Meet the Wolfman actually borrow a lot from the adaptation of the Wolfman film, starring Lon Chaney Jr. with Bela Lugosi. For those of you that haven't seen the film, it's kind of simple to kind of discuss. I haven't seen it either, but I've seen reviews of it. So, more or less, it's about this man named Lawrence Talbot, who just so happens to be attacked by a werewolf, played by Bela Lugosi, and so he starts to not feel himself. That is until later, where he is gunned down by the villagers after turning into a werewolf at night. The werewolf transformation effect is still one of the best werewolf transformations ever put to screen, and it's still widely regarded as one of Universal's best films next to Frankenstein and even Dracula. And he also made some very, 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 very weird cameos. Wow. As such, let's dig into Alvin and the Chipmunks, and I'm pretty sure Alvin and the Chipmunks need no introduction, but let's dig into Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet the Wolfman, and see exactly how this trio of singing chipmunks, best known for the Christmas song, exactly met an icon of horror. They also have another movie called Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet Frankenstein. We might review that one later on. What? I like children's horror. Screw you. So, anyways, let's dig into Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet the Wolfman and see just how this all happened. Our film honestly begins with a nightmare sequence by Alvin, who happens to be being chased by something, he doesn't know what, in the woods, and it's obviously hunting him down and trying to, I wouldn't necessarily say kill him, but that seems to be the entire premise of this, is that Alvin is being hunted down and killed by an unseen force. We do, however, get this beautifully gorgeous animated eye shot that's also haunting, but also looks really damn good, as this could also be a reference to my favorite werewolf movie. This is very similar to An American Werewolf in London, where David had nightmares or bad dreams about something hunting him in the woods, but he doesn't know what, as he's slowly changing into a werewolf. Although I'm very doubtful that Alvin will ever have the nightmare about Nazi werewolves killing his entire family, but what do I know, this is a children's film, so that could happen. As Simon and Theodore point out, that Alvin had been having a lot of bad dreams lately, and that's specifically because he is really obsessed with horror movies and everything horror in general, so that might be having a play upon his nightmares. We even get to see a checklist that Simon has of every single being that basically Alvin has had a dream about. We see Frankenstein, the mummy, the Wolfman, and a bunny? Okay, how can a bunny be terrifying? It's a fucking bunny!
Jesus Christ! I warned you! I've done it again! I warned you, but did you listen to me? Oh, no, you know.
Also, to play upon the horror theme, the Chipmunks at their school are in the theater play of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I just felt like that this should be pointed out, just in case if anybody mentions, like, did you know that there was a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Yes, I did. And it's just weird that it was put into this film, but I think that it didn't have enough horror genres mixed into it. But yeah, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is in this. Thank God it's not the god-awful video game. As we see that one person in particular that Alvin is deathly afraid of is Lawrence Talbot, voiced by Maurice LaMarche. And yeah, you can tell that Mr. Talbot is not exactly the greatest fellow to be liking in any taste and form, but Alvin really doesn't like him because Alvin believes that there's more to him, and that Alvin believes that he could be a werewolf. No, where would he get that from? It could be the wolf king, but then again, the guy should be a massive wolf fan. Who knows? Doesn't necessarily mean that he has to be a werewolf. After Alvin has caused so much trouble with his horror and thriller kind of series, Dave decided enough's enough with Alvin's menacing problem and Alvin in general, so he just decided to get rid of his entire horror collection. As you can imagine, for dear old Alvin, who just happens to be a gorehound and a Halloween lover, he does not take this news very well. And in fact, he actually becomes kind of like a living meme, that he's surrounded by nothing horrifying, nothing like monsters, creeps, ghouls, goblins, nothing like that, and yet he has to go complete and utter cold turkey. Believe it or not, the movie's main focus isn't Alvin, but it's instead his brother Theodore. Yet, surprisingly, this movie has Theodore as the main focus. Theodore ends up getting bullied by a man named Nathan, and he actually ends up becoming insecure of himself and thinks that he can't overcome his own obstacles, and this really begins to have pretty much a downward spiral for the poor guy as he begins to think that maybe he isn't worth anything like his brothers think that he is. I think that Theodore, for a lot of people like me especially and others that I know, can be very much exemplified as a guy, a young boy who tries to mean well, but he always thinks that he's doing less than his full advantage, and I really do think that that makes Theodore all the more relatable in this, as I really can compensate with him, as I am one person that really doesn't think that he does the best that he can do and never measures up to his full potential. So Theodore, to me, in this movie, is definitely my spirit animal. But things change for Theodore when he's attacked by a werewolf. He never sees the werewolf, but he ends up becoming one anyway. Well, more or less. He starts going through some changes and starts to become a better person at first. But then slowly over time, Theodore actually ends up getting worse, and this is because of the werewolfism that's put within his genes. And this causes Theodore to become a were-chipmunk. Or a weremunk. I'm not kidding. That is actually what he is called in this. But the good thing is that weremunk, Theodore, actually acts more like a puppy than an actual werewolf, so there's nothing really threatening to him. Then again, this is a children's horror film, so they cannot go over the edge or over the top, especially in some big moments. Eventually, Alvin meets his idol, who basically is a parody of the soothsayer from the Wolfman, Madame Rhea, who ends up telling him everything about werewolfism, and especially his brother suffering from werewolfism, and she gives him a few pointers, namely and first and foremost that they can kill Theodore, but they can't do that, especially not to their own brother. So she offers another skepticism or another criticism. If they can pop him on the head with something silver hard enough, maybe he can revert back into his cute little form that he was in before. As you'd expect, the plan of Alvin did not work, And so Theodore ends up doing the one thing that he would probably know better to do, is just take the cane and break it, which unfortunately gets Alvin in trouble with Dave yet again, who had to go over to Mr. Talbot to apologize for, well, the broken cane incident. This ends up resulting in Mr. Talbot transforming into his werewolf form, which is a damn shame that they did it so cheaply and not impressive at all, especially since that this should be the biggest moment of the movie, very similar to The Howling or An American Werewolf in London. But unfortunately, it did not. I know that animation's expensive, but still, come on, guys. This could have been your critical, crucial moment. Which is the moment where Theodore and Mr. Talbot actually end up fighting. The two of them fight, Theodore bites Mr. Talbot, and then, strangely enough, and out of the bullshit of bullshit happenings, which I have to repeat word for word because it's so stupid, they end up reversing the werewolf process for both of them. Meaning Theodore turns back into Theodore, and Mr. Talbot transforms back into Mr. Talbot with no horrible repercussions at all.
I'm sorry. I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, I have to concur with Lego Batman here. I really have no idea what you're talking about either. I don't know much about werewolfism, but I do kind of realize that sometimes the werewolf biting another werewolf is not always the cause of their basically transformation back, as it's always confusing, as some films and mythological pedias say, yeah, it's possible, with others saying, no, it's completely not impossible. And then also some say that it is possible for a werewolf to become back into a human, but they had to be bitten by a vampire first. So, to the person that decided that that was a good idea for this movie, I know animation's expensive, so they just made something up on the fly, and with werewolfism, you usually can just make up whatever that you want. I have just this to use against you.
I found it. See? Let's go. You hatched from a moron egg?
So everything turns alright in the end, but uh-oh, shenanigans inbound, as Mr. Talbot seems to be the new principal at the school where the Chipmunks go. Boy, this could lead into some very wacky and packy shenanigans for the Halloween season, as nothing is spookier than your principal who used to be a monster. What would be even worse if they brought in the Mummy and Dracula alongside him? Then you would have truly a monster school squad. Seeing how many people laugh at that poor joke. Not funny at all, I know. And yes, I know I have to review Monster Squad at some point. I've seen it with a few friends at a Halloween movie kind of like party, but shh. I will review it at some point. So, anyways, that was Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet the Wolfman, and it's really damn good. The story, admittedly, could have been better, but the music, the voice acting, the beautiful animation is really well done. I'm actually surprised how much they got away with for most of the horror elements, especially for using the word kill in this. Well, they don't really use kill, but they use heavy euphemisms for killing off somebody. But it's a really good movie and one that I really enjoy watching every single Halloween or every single October, as it kind of became a thing for me to kind of do, kind of like a tradition. Very much how we always watch Charlie Brown Christmas during Christmas time. Or is it Christmas? Christmas? Chrissy Claus? Christmas? How do you pronounce that again? But anyways, my Funko Pop rating of Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet the Wolfman gets in Mickey Mouse. Because this is an animated classic just like the great mouse himself. So my Funko Pop rating of Alvin and the Chipmunks Meet the Wolfman gets a Mickey Mouse. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon to be notified every single time I make an upload. And follow me at Twitter, there's a link in the description down below, where you can call and find them after some behind the scenes stuff, see what I'm working on, and especially getting new hints of faces that you might see in future Lazyween. And let me know what you thought about Alvin and the Chipmunks meet the Wolfman in the comments down below. I'm more partial to Alvin and the Chipmunks meet Frankenstein, but that's just me. But let me know your own thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll be Lazy Universe. I've got to keep it on. And next time, we are going to be celebrating Lazyween with an old classic that we haven't seen in a few years. And we're going to take another vacation to Hotel Transylvania. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I believe you, I want to keep it on. And until next time, again, as always, take care and stay spooky.